The Metaverse is coming, and it's going to change the world. A whole new economy is forming, based around interactions in virtual worlds.
The Metaverse is not just a virtual reality, it is actually an extension of real life.
People can create things in it, and entire businesses can appear in it. And then you have the ability to sell and exchange real things for real money.
In this video, we'll explain what the Metaverse is, how you can interact with it, and how it's going to make some people very rich.
It's not just about, just putting your 2D business into 3D, but the Metaverse will hold so many new opportunities to completely rethink the way you do your business or you tell your stories.
We'll explain who is trying to build the Metaverse and who's going to dominate it.
The Chinese government is very positive in embracing the technological change. And also they are very proactive in developing a homegrown metaverse.
As the lines between the real world and the virtual world begin to blur, it's time to understand what's to come. Welcome to Business Beyond. So first things first, what is the Metaverse? Well, the term was actually coined 3 decades ago in a science fiction book, but it's taken on a whole new meaning in recent years.
We are basically talking about a walk-in internet, so the convergence between the physical space and the digital space. So living basically in a mixed reality and interacting very naturally with digital content, digital goods, and 3D objects. So the possibilities are really endless.
That's the vision of the Metaverse put forward by Meta, the internet giant formerly known as Facebook. It changed its name last year in one of the great statements of intent about the Metaverse.
From now on, we're going to be Metaverse first, not Facebook first.
Facebook, or formerly Facebook, has many different brands and ventures, such as formerly Oculus, WhatsApp, Instagram. So we didn't feel like Facebook, the name, represents the broadness of what we're actually doing. So that was basically the shift to Meta.
Meta is hoping to dominate the Metaverse in the same way it dominates social media today. More on how it plans to do that later. But let's continue exploring what the Metaverse actually is. Well, one thing it definitely will be is 3D. In the Metaverse, we'll interact with one another in virtual worlds, much like we do in the physical world. There are websites where you can already get a glimpse of what that could be like. This is me exploring Decentraland. I didn't know how to get rid of the little beard. There I met Dr. Yesha Sivan, an expert on, as he puts it, innovating. He doesn't actually look like this, he looks like this. And he's built up a firm understanding of the Metaverse.
It has developed into many, many things. The ultimate definition is what I call the 3D 3C. A three-dimensional environment whereby community, creation, and commerce basically flourish. Now, the 3D 3C is really the definition of the real world. But when we are saying a metaverse 3D 3C, we say as much as possible to do that on a virtual environment without the difficulties of the real world.
So a 3D world in which there are communities, things are being created, and commercial activity is taking place. And it's that third C that we're particularly interested in, because that's all about making money. So what sort of commerce are we talking about? Well, one example will be the products we can buy in these virtual worlds to improve our experiences. Everything from clothes to toys to hand gestures.
Remember, I waved you at the virtual world? That is a product. Somebody can design it, somebody can sell it, and it has value. So instead of waving like this, I'm going to wave like this, a little funnier. Is that worth $1? Great. Now to make this, you need a few hours of animation capabilities. You do that. You have the product out there. There are stores. People buy it. It's a nice thing to have.
There won't just be the opportunity to buy things that are nice to have. Digital assets are also set to play a major role in the metaverse. That's things we can invest in, which will hopefully accrue value. This is already happening. You can already buy sneakers to wear in the metaverse. You can buy digital artwork that might one day adorn your virtual home. You can even buy a pigeon. So once you have, for example, your virtual trainers, who's going to wear them? Well, let's explore another key ingredient of the metaverse: avatars. Virtual worlds will need to be populated by virtual people. And creating ever more sophisticated avatars is becoming big business. This is Nexar Technologies' studio in Berlin, where they build made-to-measure virtual representations of real people, like Kevin here. These avatars can then be inserted into whatever environment Nexar's clients demand.
This technology, not only are we able to record motion capture for traditional processes, for game animation, film animations, or anything like that, but we can actually do live events, concerts, seminars, theatre is all possible.
Well, before an avatar can enjoy any of these virtual experiences, they have to be created. And that's what I'm here to do today. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be scanned so that they can create what they call here a meta-human, or what we might call an avatar. And what I have to do is I have to go into this booth here, and you'll see all around the walls here are no fewer than 110 different cameras. So I have to stand with my feet about shoulder width apart. And what's going to happen is these cameras are going to take shots of every part of my body, and including all of my facial features. They're going to be asking me to do, I think they said 10 different facial expressions. They'll record those, and they'll take all of that data about every inch of my body, and they'll create this meta-human, this avatar of me.
Easy.
And we'll see how it turns out later.
Beautiful.
All these meta-humans are going to need spaces in which to exist. That's where the next metaverse money-making opportunity comes in: digital real estate. There are already metaverse real estate agents out there, ready to sell you a plot of land in a digital world. I found one website that was selling parcels of land in a virtual Berlin. If I wanted, I could buy the DW studios. But buyer beware. The market is even less predictable than traditional bricks and mortar.
You buy this plot of land, and hopefully it's yours, and hopefully there's only one like that, because the company can decide Berlin, and then there's Berlin 2, and then there's Berlin 3. You never know. It's not, you didn't sign a contract with them that they can do only one Berlin. Plus, there may be a competitor that is doing another Berlin.
This is where the metaverse is very different to the real world. Property can be duplicated, in theory, infinite numbers of times, and so can any other virtual item. Ensuring the integrity of purchases has been one of the major sources of innovation in recent years. You're probably already aware of NFTs and blockchain. Both are going to play a major part in keeping track of property in the metaverse.
What is often called the NFT is really a very simple idea. It's an idea that you can attach a number to something. You can attach a unique ID. I'll give you an example. Unique ID, here's an ID of something. It has a number in it, and this number makes this particular thing. By the way, I can take this and I can attach it to my screen, to my keyboard, to my shirt, to myself. This makes it a one. Now you have a list somewhere, could be centralized list, where you say, item number XYZ belongs to Rob. Another way of doing it, and here comes blockchain, is to sort of transmit this information to the world and have many people keep this list, and that's blockchain.
Once you have your virtual possessions, the next question is, where can you use them? Is your avatar and their fancy new threads limited to just one part of the metaverse, or can they take their belongings with them? These are the questions that the big players are trying to find answers to.
I think for our future vision, at least, will be important to create some form of interoperability. So for people to take their avatars, for example, along, or to take their goods from one platform to another. So this is something that we are working towards, where we are what we are discussing with other companies and within organizations, because we do think the metaverse can only be successful for people, for creators, for businesses, if we create a certain form of interoperability here.
So that's how goods are going to work, but services are also going to be another major way that people make money in the metaverse. Many of the commercial interactions we experience in the real world will exist in some virtual form as well. Online architects will design metaverse buildings for a fee. Therapists will hold sessions online in 3D environments, with patients getting the extra anonymity that comes with having an avatar.
The level and the amount of products is amazing. Courses, designs, even services. You know, today I need somebody to play with my kid on the metaverse. Okay, imagine a Fiverr like that will do it with a virtual babysitter. By the way, you will never know if the babysitter is real or if it's a robot. And frankly, you don't care.
There are a lot of companies and businesses, especially from retail, from fashion, who are experimenting and pioneering in the metaverse. So we're seeing fashion shows in the metaverse. We're seeing events. We're seeing concerts. So this is something that we're seeing, and you've probably heard about a lot of brands who build a presence in the metaverse on VR platforms.
Right, back to Nexar Technologies' VR studio in Berlin, where it's time for me to come face to face with my virtual self. He actually dances a lot better than the real me. So for him to start matching my real-life movements, I need to get kitted out. The tiny dots you can see being placed all over me are also visible to cameras dotted around the studio. That means my movements can be transferred to my avatar too. Nexar CEO Markus Peuler has also joined me in the real and virtual worlds. I asked him how businesses were able to use this technology.
There's a whole range of applications that are possible already today. This is future technology, but we can use it already. So there's examples from getting professional trainings. You can attend conferences, and there's, meeting possibilities. These are examples what our clients are doing today already.
As much as technology has advanced, creating a sophisticated avatar can be a time-consuming and expensive business. So will we ever reach the point where we can all have one?
We're working on making it available to everyone. So it becomes a matter of just a couple of euros. The question is how good is the quality and what is the use case for the avatar? If you want it to be in a movie-like environment with a lot of detail, then the avatar is a bit more expensive. But we're also creating avatars for the mass market. So it's actually, you go into that scanner, it's a couple of minutes, and the scanner is being auto-created. But the more time, for example, a 3D artist is spending on making the hair right, the skin right, and all that stuff, make it more, because there's more detail required, it gets more expensive.
The metaverse is often described simply as the future internet, and the corporations that dominate the current internet are maneuvering themselves to make sure they aren't left behind. The likes of Microsoft and Meta don't just want to be part of the metaverse, they want to build it.
We are investing a good deal into the metaverse, especially into research and development, into hardware, and I think rightfully so. And just to give you one number, we have a 50 million fund that we created last year for partnerships, for research partnerships around the metaverse, because we do understand that the metaverse cannot be built by ourselves.
Like it does now, Meta wants to create the social spaces where people gather in the metaverse. But instead of two-dimensional web pages and smartphone apps, these spaces will be much more sophisticated. They're investing big because they see the potential returns as big. But how exactly does Meta plan to make money in the metaverse?
We don't know yet. So, of course, advertising will also play a role in the metaverse and virtual spaces. But there are other opportunities that we can't foresee as of now. We are looking into right now really building the foundation, and especially our hardware business is going incredibly well, and there will be more to come. So this will definitely be one pillar on how we make money around the metaverse.
Now that's something we haven't talked about yet, the hardware, the equipment that we're going to need to actually experience the metaverse. The market for ever more powerful computers to process those complex 3D graphics is certain to boom over the next few years. As is the sale of augmented reality and virtual reality headsets. Shipments are already surging, and in 2024 they're expected to outsell games consoles for the first time. Dominating that market will mean a major payday, and Meta is hoping for a large slice of the pie, as are a host of other Silicon Valley and European competitors. But when you consider the sheer scale of production that will soon be needed, one major global player can't be ignored. China's ability to manufacture in large quantities and at low costs means it's set to play a big role in supplying the world's headsets.
The Chinese government, in terms of the central government and the local governments, they are all encouraging the local companies to develop and to invest in the AR/VR technology.
Simin Lin has been researching what she terms the Chinaverse. As well as providing hardware for users across the globe, China is expected to be a major metaverse market itself. Some 37 million Chinese users are expected to have a virtual identity on a metaverse platform by 2025. Over 500 Chinese companies named after the metaverse have already been registered, and financial services firm Morgan Stanley expects the value of the Chinese metaverse market to reach $8 trillion in the coming years.
In the metaverse ecosystem, there are different blocks. For example, the companies are dedicated to make the avatars, the companies who are worked in the, for example, infrastructures like the 5G, 6G, or in the Wi-Fi 6. Or there are companies who are working to build the NFTs, the blockchain technology. So there are different technology blocks and where Chinese companies they are working in.
The building Chinese enthusiasm for the metaverse is being driven by the government in Beijing. It appears to have been quick to realize the potential opportunities and potential threats that the revolution in the internet could pose.
The Chinese government is very positive in embracing the technological change. And also they are very proactive in developing a homegrown metaverse. So we think that the metaverse in China will be with certain Chinese characteristics.
Now that phrase is key. What are Chinese characteristics? Well, one of them, it would appear, is strict regulation. Beijing is already passing laws aimed at more tightly controlling what people will be able to do in China's metaverse.
Based on the regulations, already we see that the China metaverse will be a cryptoless metaverse, because today we see that the crypto mining is banned in China, and also we cannot use a cryptocurrency in China as well. So in the future, for now, what we sure is that the metaverse will be the crypto-less environment.
The Chinese metaverse, like China's existing internet access, looks set to be restricted. In the same way Chinese users are currently prevented from accessing parts of the web, some parts of the metaverse will probably be inaccessible to Chinese avatars. This could result in the virtual worlds of the Chinese metaverse being isolated from the metaverse elsewhere.
I assume that in 10 years in the West, we will have one or two big players hosting the global metaverse. This can either be in a model like we have now in operating system, where we have Microsoft on one hand and Apple on the other hand, but these are like two ecosystems with a little bit of exchange between them. Or it can be in the form of the internet, where we have like a unified system that allows people to connect together. And then we will have a similar thing in China itself.
That's Yeshua Sivan's forecast for a decade from now. Consensus is that that's about how long the metaverse will take to take shape. So, if you want to make money from the metaverse then, is it best to just wait?
This is such an exciting but also crucial time for people to familiarize themselves with the metaverse and really also allow themselves to think about the opportunities that the metaverse holds.
Some aspects of the metaverse will flourish, and there's going to be some applications that will actually turn into reality, much like the phone has turned into a reality. And you want to be either the application or the hardware or the service that is doing that. But patient, it's going to take 10 years.
Over the next decade, the metaverse is going to take shape, and so will our virtual lives there. That's all from this edition of Business Beyond. If you've enjoyed it, do remember to hit like and subscribe, and why not check out one of our other videos too. Until next time, take care.